Hi everybody, it's Annette from the Art of Intuition, and today we're going to talk about judgment. And this is probably the fifth time I've tried to shoot this video today, and I am finding myself judging everything about it, from what I'm saying to what I'm not saying to what it looks like. It's just been definitely energies of the day and of the collective right now. So whether it's affecting you on a micro level or a macro level, judgment seems to be massively running through everything we're doing. So let's talk about judgment. Judgment is one of the last things to clear when we ascend our consciousness. When we start ascending our consciousness and we start clearing it from our DNA programming, which happens when you hold a higher level of consciousness for a longer period of time. You have to hold it for a certain amount of time and then it starts to clear from your body. So we will find that even though we judge less and less or get judged less and less, we'll still find it crop into our lives here and there because we still hold it on a DNA level. So like me as an example, I've cleared what I feel is a lot of judgment, but I still hold it in my DNA somewhere because I see it in the collective and I found myself at judging it. So I'm still attached to that collective because I find myself judging the judgment and judging myself and judging. I'm finding I'm going through it a lot. So I'm sort of looking at it again, but trying not to judge the judgment, which we kind of as humans will get into that game. Our human aspect will get into then judging everything that we're judging. It is a never-ending story of judgment. So one thing to remember when you're talking about judgment is we cannot be judged if we don't hold judgment. So if we hold it anywhere in our body, we can be judged. So I'll tell a lot of people who are they're judging the work they're doing, no matter what the work is. It doesn't matter what it is, what platform it's on, but they'll judge the work they're doing and they won't want to put it out or put themselves out there in any capacity. It doesn't matter what it is. But that's judging it before someone else even judges it. We're our worst critics. We'll judge something and give no one else a chance to even judge it, because that's what the human does. The human judges ourselves worse than anyone. So we don't even put it out there to be judged, but that's our judgment, not someone else's. It's always ours. So remember, whenever you're pointing the finger at someone else, flip it back around, because it always starts with us. We hold the judgment somewhere, whether it's heavily in our energy field or just in our body, because we haven't cleared out of our DNA programming yet, we're still holding it. So what we're seeing now is a lot of people judging what people are doing, what people aren't doing, what they're doing. It's just everywhere. Everyone is judging everyone else. One, because people aren't really sure what to do. So they kind of want to go on a lot of the social platforms and ask, or they want to judge something someone else is doing and see what the feedback is, because they're kind of finding their way as to what they believe or what they don't believe and what their truth really is. And judgment doesn't feel good. And I know for me right now, I'm not enjoying that. I'm kind of going through my own judgment clearing because it doesn't feel good. It's so discordant to our natural frequency to judge something, because the soul doesn't judge anything, because the soul knows every other soul is exactly where it's supposed to be. There's nothing to judge in it because it's perfectly exact where it's supposed to be. It's perfectly fine. But the human judges. We'll judge everything constantly. We judge the judgment, we judge others, we judge ourselves, but it's our judgment. So look at what you're judging. And also, kind of judgment energy comes in a lot of tricky ways. Like if you're giving an opinion and no one asks for your opinion, which I have found myself doing this lately, which I'd really try not to do, but I am just going through my own judgment clearing. And I will give an opinion and no one asked for it, and I'm giving it anyway. And that is in its own way judgment, because you're judging someone else's opinion in a sense, saying, oh, I'm right, you're wrong. Even if we're not saying it like that, that's kind of the energy behind it. When you give an opinion and it's not solicited, if someone asks you, that's different energy. But if you're giving an opinion and no one asked, that's judgment. We're judging what someone else is doing, and that's why it normally doesn't go over very well, because there's so much judgment energy behind it. Now, a lot of people don't even see it as that because they hold so much judgment that it is really just the last thing to go when we clear it out of our system. Judgment is one of the last things to go. Blame, shame, guilt, all that stuff feels like a picnic until we get to judgment. And judgment is just kind of hangs on. So we don't really want to be a victim to it, but just know it's there. And if you do find yourself judging, look at why. A lot of it is we want to validate ourselves. It's a big validation game for our human. You know, we want to feel more important. We want to feel like we're right. We want to feel like what we're saying makes more sense. We want to say, we say this because 18 other people say this. It doesn't matter how you're even trying to convince yourself you're doing it, or there's no good reason behind it. That's the human playing a game. Our human aspect plays a game like that. There's no good reason to judge anything. There's no good reason to force our opinion on other people. And that's kind of the end of that story in a sense. So just look at what you're doing, but don't judge you're doing it. I mean, I kind of was judging, started kind of judging doing it myself. I'm like, let me just kind of back away from that. I don't like to say let it go anymore because it feels like we're losing something and it's tough. Give it space. I try to give it space and go, okay, why am I doing it at all? Why am I judging it? Why am I so tough on it right now? You know, why am I so tough on me right now with it? But no, you're doing it. And then you can shift it. But being conscious just really means knowing you're doing something. Now, if you know you're doing it and you're not shifting it, that's a different story because you don't really want to change it. And that's a totally different, there's a lot of different energy behind that. So we just want to look at what we're doing, being conscious of what we're doing. And sometimes maybe look at the habits we're doing. If we're always in a habit of someone asks a question, we're immediately on there giving our opinion, maybe we should back off on that. We should do the opposite of what we normally would do until we kind of get through and clear some of this energy. If you want to go clear judgment, go in the bathroom and scream it out for 30 minutes. But don't project it on someone. It's like any other emotion, any other energy. We don't want to project it on someone. We want to just clear it out. So look at what we're judging. Be honest that we're doing it. It's a big collective clearing right now, so let's not beat ourselves up over the judgment. A lot of people are going through it. There's a lot of energy that has to clear, and there's a lot of realities that are sort of based on judgment that are going to have to collapse also, because judgment gets us nowhere. It's just a big hamster wheel loop. That's what judgment is. So let's all look at where we are on the hamster wheel, do our best to get off the hamster wheel, even if we do it part by part, bit by bit. Look at what triggers you. If someone judges you and you get triggered, it's our judgment. Remember, if we don't hold it, we can't be judged. In the very beginning, when I started doing videos, I would intentionally put out ones where I didn't like the way I looked or didn't really like so much something I said, just to get over my own judgment of myself. It wasn't really so much about what they look like or what I said. It was more just to get over myself, because that was my judgment. And the more I did that, the more I kind of broke my own programming about it. So look at some of that in yourself. Look at, what are you judging? You can look at it on the micro of judging others, but it's always our own judgment. What are you judging in yourself? Because that's where you want to get to. It's never about anybody else. We judge others because we don't like something that we're doing. It's our own judgment. Look at where we're judging ourselves. Look where we don't feel like we're good enough, we're worthy enough. What we have to say is important enough. Look at that. That'll be the key to clearing it, because it's not out there. It's in here. We can look out there to see we still have it, but in here is really where it is. So look at where we're judging and keep practicing the art of intuition. I rushed that a little bit at the end. Did you see that? This has been the story of this video. Oh, I hope everyone enjoyed it. I don't think I'm ever going to do another video on judgment again.